Hopefully we'll get an actual camera and I could use my phone to look up some stuff. Like, when we're like, oh my God, did you know that Donald Trump was eaten by lizards? And Biden's skin suit is a man who grew 6 inches? What?
There's some stuff like I love the internet. Like, are we recording?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay,
dude,
see,
we're good. We're there.
Man. We didn't like, you know.
See, I just have the magical editing skills, so I can like edit the part where I walk around, and we need to stop talking about the screaming cicadas because they're not going to be ever anywhere or anything, because I can, you know, take out all the background noise. Although the birds stay in, and I think that's dope.
I do. I love the nature. There's certain aspects like that. We talked about it a while ago, and it's nice to name drop again, but the psychologist guy out in the forest.
Yeah, that guy.
Name drop right there. Got it.
It'll be on the Facebook page. Find us at the Toast of the Weird Facebook.
This person.
Nope, none of that is going to happen.
Eventually.
Eventually. I mean, if you go back to our first episode and you like come to our 30th episode, I think is where we're at now.
Yeah,
like,
nice.
It looks way different. Like, it just sounds way different, sounds way better. It's got a different vibe, but
I mean, we're professionals now. That's 30 seasoned, you know, trials you've gotten to, and all that self-reflection on top of it.
Got 6 months in the game. Yeah, mic drop. But I like that I leave in the flaws, you know, the quiet reflection. There's 30 seconds of nothing.
There's something to be said again about the authenticity of realism. You know, it's nice to have some crisp, edited, commercial version of stuff, but you don't connect as much. I want to say.
No.
You know.
No, and that's kind of like the vibe that we have going on. Is that whole just a couple dudes bullshitting around a truck, you know. That's our demographic too. We are international now. We've had more eyeballs than I can count. Look at us. I mean, count like 1, 2, 3, because I run out of fingers and toes. But we've had more eyeballs on us on the international level too than just our one extra Spotify follower.
Joe Rogan. Maybe.
Joe
R.
Famous Joe guy. It's okay. It's all been shorts too. So
can't forget Tater Tot. He's been a great influence. Love him or hate him, folks.
Well,
that's
that's been our demographic. Is basically males 25 to 34.
Awesome.
100% of our audience is a bunch of bros. So
really?
Shout out to the bros.
And there's been some uptick in men's health, men's mental health, men's. I don't want to say collaboration or broness or whatever, but again, too, there's a lot more bro classes, a lot more guy stuff I've seen in the last 5 years before that. Lots of self-help classes.
I think we fit into that whole masculinity thing where they're like toxic masculinity versus, you know, masculinity. I don't really understand it, you know. But if they're like define being a man. Well, you're a man when you have to like care for something other than yourself is like a really common one too. Really? And I think we fit in that niche just perfectly.
Let's keep things perfectly PC. What is a woman?
I will not go to gender identify anything in this day and age on camera on the internet. You're not gonna hold me down like that. That's not gonna happen. You will not catch me ever saying that man beats other man for women's world gold medal at the Olympics. You'll never catch me saying that seriously.
That was not serious at all.
No, that wasn't serious at all, and that did not happen with the XY chromosomes of the two boxers in the.
People can be as they want, as they choose to be, and change, and I respect that.
But
however, there's certain things that I believe you should be excluded from because of what's that word we all learned in kindergarten? Fairness. That's it. I mean,
yeah.
Again, to each their own. What makes you happy, I'm fine with that. But the boxing one, I'm sorry, but it was like the latest one where some guy was beating the shit out of some chick in boxing, and I just I looked at it. I was just like, so we're supporting domestic violence now? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? I mean, that's really shitty.
Was that the
sorry.
Olympic thing?
I was. And maybe he was in red or blue or something. I didn't watch all of it.
So,
and again, 2.5 time, but it just looked like.
We talked about this last week, where she comes from a country where if they wanted to get to be trans or do any of that stuff, they would just they'd execute them. It's an Islamic country.
Well, I thought the male or change. I thought there was a man who had changed genders or whatever the specifics of it, and was in a boxing match with a female.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I saw, and he's obviously bigger, and like there was just so many of these things I'm just looking at, and I'm like, okay, genetically, and again, she's probably very trained and tough, but there's a lot of stuff I'm just like, I just thought it was fucking terrible. I just looked at it and I'm like, I don't know. There's words and feelings that I just can't express. Or
where's the limit?
Yeah, again, too, I'm just like, I think it was the tennis example, and forgive me forgetting the lady's name, but she's a top female tennis player in the world or whatever.
Okay.
And name drop. And they came up to, she was talking about how she got beaten by the 200th ranked male player or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about how he smoked her and some crap. And it was just interesting, again, too, the difference between the two. It's like the same thing with age. You don't have a 20-some 16-year-old competing against a 40-year-old. Like, there's just certain things. The same thing with bodybuilding. You don't have a 19-year-old competing against a 40-year-old. Their genetic structure is just completely different at that point. And your ability to mass gain or muscle build is completely different. So is that fair? To even have your 19-year-old version compete against your 40-year-old version? It's completely asinine.
Yeah.
So there's just things I'm looking at, and I'm just like,
boom.
That's awesome. Things I'm looking at, and just boom. And is it still going?
Yeah, we're still rocking and rolling. That'll be edited out, but we'll probably leave it in there just for funsies.
And I say this being in Pee Wee football when I was an adolescent, having a girl that was on the team, and she was much better than the guys. But at some point, there's going to be a physical drastic difference between that young lady's development, in her later teens in high school than her male counterparts. And you need to fucking keep that in consideration. I guess maybe is it a little biased to say women can compete with men, but it's completely different for men to compete with women? Maybe. I don't know why. Because
it's hella biased.
Well, I guess maybe because it's sense that she is at the top of her peak, and there's nowhere else for her to compete in her level with her gender, perhaps, and she raises the bar. Cool.
Well,
okay. But for a man to kind of punch down, so to speak, not to say there's not capable women out there. Absolutely,
there are genetic advantages, even within genders.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we compete in stuff like boxing, to see who's the toughest, strongest, most trainable, that kind of a thing. So let's just equal it out. For a 39-year-old to go against a 39-year-old, maybe we shouldn't shake the truck so much. Just throwing that out there.
1% better every day.
1% better every day. Boom. That was my phone. Yeah. Anyway.
He's got a tough case.
Anyway. For a 39-year-old man to go up against a 39-year-old man, if that 39-year-old man was 4'3", 300 pounds, and the other 39-year-old man was, 6'2", 350 pounds, you're looking at two very different frames. Two very different frames. One has the reach advantage, and the other one has the height advantage. Like, I'm not gonna hit you in the head, but I'm gonna use your balls as my fucking punching bag. Brrr, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Lower center of gravity. Honestly, harder to topple over.
Yeah.
Has to kick the guy's knees, and the giant will fall. But
yeah. So as far as in my opinion, my humble opinion, because I know dick all of anything about this. My humble opinion, we should have the men's division, the women's division, and then the third gender. Just like you identify as whatever, the X, the MX, MRS, MS, the MR, MX. You identify as that third gender, by all means, that's the new category. The Hindus have always recognized the third gender. Always recognized that.
Facts.
So...
Legit.
And my own humble, honest to being belief is if somebody wants to compete in the Olympics and they don't fit in this black or that white or this white and that black or whatever the case may be. If it's not black and white and it's a little bit gray and we don't understand if that's a woman with man's genetics or a genderless person who needs to feel love and affection, by all means, let them compete in their own third gender.
I like that. It's very... I like that. That seems very logical and emotionally supportive at the same time.
I also think that we should have just a random dude, or random person, you're competing too. What?
Oh, I love the average Joe, like, equalizer.
Yeah.
Kind of like, seriously, like, and again, too, they don't have to be your lazy, typical, or stereotypical couch potato person. You could be like, hey, by the way, this person, ex-Marine, runs 4 miles, and, a day, is, trash guy, and, like, lifts weights, like, in his spare, whatever, She's a vet, and I don't know.
No, my only requirement for that is, do you have any experience in pole vaulting? No. Awesome. You're going to show the world how difficult it is in the next Olympics. You got 4 years to figure it out. Good luck.
We're gonna embarrass you on a global level. Are you okay with that? Just saying. If you make it over the pole, it will be an accomplishment.
How much money are they going to pay them too? That's the thing.
Yeah, a good year or two.
I'm not saying do it for free. I'm just saying you got 4 years to figure it out.
No one will remember who the Olympic.
We'll give you the first place prize for just trying. Just trying, You show up, get punched in the face, cry, and go home.
It's now the 4th step on the podium. They're like, he just showed up.
And here's our average person podium. There you go.
I wouldn't mind that. I'd walk up and be like, 100-meter dash, 5 minutes. I don't know.
I did the mile.
I could see that. Like,
I finished by the end of the day.
They give you like it's like because you get gold, silver, bronze, right? So it's like a bronze. There's like a little silver and like a speck of gold on it. Maybe just like enough like the torch, the flames a little bit. Or maybe they could plate it. That'd be fine. I wouldn't mind
It's just a little thing. You competed. Here's your participation trophy.
Not even that. Just a few steps above it. Like just to make so again, if you had bronze, it would be a little like. I don't know. I get that, No one's walking around flashing their bronze fucking medals, though. I'm just saying.
Hey, they said nobody remembers the second place guy and that sharpshooter. He's all over the place. Now, all the other people who get second are like, hey, I saw that, like 100-meter dash, pole vault, all that stuff. Yeah.
Everyone's like, number 2 this year. It's our year.
Number 2. Who does number 2 work for? Thank you, Austin Powers.
I saw it was some medal count at the time, and of course, we're super excited that we're beating everyone. Not any country in particular, but from the medal count, I'm just like, sure, we have more medals. And I'm like, who had more gold though? I was just curious. I don't know.
Dude, I told you, I'm at the point where I don't believe anything on the internet, like especially if it comes through the media. To tell you the honest truth, even YouTube, I don't even believe our own podcast. I'm like, what did those guys say? I gotta look that up. It was me spouting that, and I'm like, oh no, I was wrong apparently. I apologize in advance for all the things that I was wrong. Find it on Facebook or where I just pointed at, because the editor can figure it out.
Yeah.
But I forgot where I was going with that.
Sometimes when you're tripping down the rabbit hole, you forget how far you went.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. No conspiracy theories. I don't believe it. I got a conspiracy theory dealer now. I love that guy.
Great name, by the way. Great name.
Find that on Facebook too. I'll probably post that there. The Toast of the Weird Facebook.
Conspiracy dealer.
The conspiracy dealer guy. He literally has a tinfoil hat. He's like, hey, and the guy's like, it's like him doing 2 characters. What do you want to talk about now?
I've seen those. They're pretty good. If you have a good personality and good editing, some people I've seen do really well with those. Like this actual one guy was talking about being a narcissist, and he going back and forth. It was really good, really eye-opening.
Nice. Narcissism.com.
Well, let's go down that rabbit hole. I mean, to be a true clinical narcissist, or to have narcissistic tendencies, or again, your point of view from someone, how they think you're being selfish and, closed-minded, and someone thinks you are taking care of yourself and being guarded. It depends on your perception. That's the shitty thing about, you are always the hero in your own story. you're always the villain in someone else's.
Yep.
Like George R.R. Martin. I mean, so it's hard not to see some of that. No one's completely evil in their own eyes. Nobody is.
No, it's all.
They're small. Some small amount of people probably.
I've taught my children that there are 3 stories, or 3 sides to every story. Yours, theirs, and somewhere in the middle lies the truth of what actually happened.
Without that emotional point of view, without that, you want things to be sided, or I absolutely have seen it and experienced myself taking a step back and looking at something from a third person point of view and being like, you're not completely 100% innocent, or you're not completely 100% correct. I don't like the term right and wrong in the conversations. I don't feel that anyone should be like, I was right. Who doesn't, so you proved your point, any case.
You were just more correct in this manner.
There you go. Yeah, I don't like belittling someone with the whole I told you so.
That makes sense.
I mean, you sometimes, and the best experience comes from poor decisions.
Yeah, it really does.
Terrible.
Yeah, because without mistakes, how are you going to learn?
Yes, very true.
Making the mistake or being proven that you are inaccurate.
In the way that we, as our society, downplay that or belittle someone instead of congratulating them for enlightening themselves or illuminating, or someone's opinion proves to be stronger than someone else's. The term for that.
Yeah, it's intellectual, like
bullying. No.
Bullying.
Sometimes I would just go off.
I was gonna go more raunchy with it, but I think it's more international phallus waving. Shall we say? It's like, oh my god, you guys, it's any comment section on any video, just it's all just like a bunch of people going, well, I have to inflate my ego and tell everyone that the sky is blue.
I can't remember what country it was from, but I just learned the other day that they call a phallus a ding-ding.
A ding-ding.
A ding-ding. For some reason, I don't know why, but it just attributes a smaller phallus to me if you say ding-ding. Like, it doesn't sound impressive if a girl's like, he had such a big ding-ding. Maybe. I guess it's a cultural thing in my mind. Or for like, they saw it and they're like, nice ding-ding. It feels a little bit like a little boy when you're like, nice ding-ding.
Nice ding-ding.
I don't know, maybe. Penis.
Like the pole vaulter who his
phallus.
Ding-ding got in the way and he was about to get gold, and you didn't see that?
No, I'm not. I don't watch too much of the Olympics. Again, too, like, as much as it may be the pinnacle of our athletic prime, unless they're going to give me money for someone winning tomorrow, or it's going to change something, they're like, hey, this country won, so now we all have, it makes no bearing on my everyday life.
That's how I feel about sports in general, but the memes coming out of the Olympics. What?
Bread and circuses.
Bread and circuses. Yeah, go check out that episode. But the memes coming out of the Olympics are just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So the story is, this pole vaulter was about to win gold, and he pole vaults up over it, he's over it, and he's got sausage in his pants, dude. Like, it's like, bravo to your genetics, right? And it hits the post on his way over. It's the only thing that hits the post.
His ding-ding.
And the post comes flying off, is his ding-ding, and falls over. I bring that up because there's an AI image out there of a guy. They redid the description of what happened, and this guy's holding onto the pole, the part that comes off, while a sausage is thrown at him and hits him in the crotch, and it's just awesome. It's just some of the memes coming out of this Olympics is just absolutely fantastic. Oh, we're wiggling again. Is it gonna fall? Stabilize.
Hey, don't wiggle the ding-ding.
Don't wiggle the ding-ding.
Maybe, I don't know why it just sounds like Thailand or Vietnam, maybe, perhaps, and I just...
Ding-ding. Well, the ancient Greeks, they valued small ding-dings over large ding-dings because they thought that it was more intellectual to have a smaller one than a larger one, which is why white people have little ding-dings.
Not to culture shame or anything, it's kind of like one of those questions I have about the Japanese culture where they're like, oh, being bald is considered. I'm like, no, I think someone who was just in power, like, perpetuated that shit. So back in the day, someone who was powerful had a ding-ding, and they were like, little ding-dings are better.
Little ding-dings mean I'm more intellectual.
I don't know, yeah. As I've never ever once heard a girl being like, "Look at that baby ding ding," you know, like
What?
I just can't wait to try that baby ding ding. I don't think we're violating any rules, YouTube, because ding ding is probably not on your list.
Oh man,
You gotta look. Someone's got to really dig down.
Hey, remember, we have to be monetized to be demonetized. So pay us something.
We've reached another goal, audience. We've gotten demonetized. And you're celebrating. They're like, "What the fuck?" And you're like, "Kidding me? It's like being canceled. We are famous enough to get canceled."
We do this anyway, just to like, I really don't want to say influence. What is it? To add to the conversation.
I mean, again, too,
yeah,
everyone's
enlighten.
being influenced, but I think it's one thing everyone knows where the library is at. The other thing, if we come along and remind them, hey, this section's fucking really good. You got to check that out.
Yeah, that's true, huh?
You know, I think that's what we do. And again, with that, like, you know, hey, that Jules Verne, man, like, I didn't like him. Well, what do you mean? Just enough to get someone's spark, or they're intrigued, or enough to get them to look into it. And as much as we don't want to admit it, humans are much more motivated by negative emotions than we are by positive emotions.
Yeah.
Anger, revenge, hate, you know, trying to prove somebody wrong. Those have probably got people much further than being like, I would like to learn that information on my own.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I made the executive decision to only follow the haters for this.
60% haters, 40% followers.
Yes, please like and subscribe. So, anyway, my theory is to only follow back the haters. So, if you want a list of haters,
Really?
check out our
comment
followers.
back on the good comments. Do we have any good comments with
No, we don't have any good comments.
Have any comments at all?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah. Like I said, the comment section is just a cesspool. Don't even.
Really?
Yeah.
They noticed my small ding ding.
No. Somebody
Not at all.
used an expletive for a vagina because we were talking about. There was a video where we were talking about, you know, you got structural and you got aesthetics, and you know the structural musculoskeletal system is a little bit, and they're just like, I'm like, I'm following you. I want to see what your gym routine looks like. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Too bad you don't have any videos. Alex34789.
Our biggest hater supporter. He's like, I follow all your videos just to comment on them. Thanks.
Thanks for following me back. I don't understand why. Now you do. Now you do.
Is it some like sheltered 10-year-old who's just exploring their thoughts online? And that's what I'm worried about, is like getting in some like verbal argument with someone.
No. Because I legitimately say that our videos are not for children and they're totally explicit. Like, you will not find.
Well, I know there's very capable young people out there. I used to be one of them, so I'm, waiting for some. I think I can't remember who. It might have been we were hanging out with Brian years and years ago, and he talked about it. Was some list he got off the internet, but he was just, remember about how he's like, I have an 8-year-old advisor, and anything that they can see through. Yeah,
if I were to rule the world, I'd have an 8-year-old advisor, and I would literally run every single one of my ideas past that person.
Yeah, exactly. So if some 8-year-old can see through your shit, then
yes, you probably need to like not.
Oh, it was also in Waterworld.
Why it was?
So it's back in the day, and again, the main character, the antagonist, he's like asking all of his yes men. He's like, so his eye gets ripped out or whatever, and he's got a fake one in there. It looks like shit. So it's in there, and he asks all of his yes men, like, how's it look? And they're like, oh, great, yeah, all this stuff, right? And he's like, Toby, what do you think? And Toby's a kid, and he's like, it looks like cold shit or something like that. And he's like, see, that's why I like kids. No fuck. He's like, no filter, no fuck. He's like, straight truth. Like, he's like, every one of the adults was like, oh yeah, boss, yeah, it looks great. And the kid was just like, looks like shit.
As you're sitting there pantomiming a 7-year-old smoking,
or
whatever.
Like,
Whatever.
I know he probably wasn't smoking. He was adding on to his defect, but he was a younger person, and just the way that he had no hesitation to say exactly the truth, unfiltered. And the protagonist is just like antagonist. Sorry. It's just like, that's why I like kids. That's nothing to gain or lose for his truth. Yeah.
That's the truth, though, man. Like, I don't know. Kids have no filter. I think that's why they always get into squabbles and stuff, because they're just like,
Mommy, why are they fat? Yeah, stuff like, they'll just say shit that's wildly inappropriate.
Yeah, but they
obvious.
probably say it to each other too. It's like, oh, my feelings were hurt. Well, there's a teaching opportunity.
I heard mommy and daddy wrestling. You know, shit like that. Yeah, I know, right?
No. Like,
why the weird kid voice? I don't know, but hey.
My daughter will literally just be like, "You didn't brush your teeth, and it stinks." And I will sit there going, "Did I brush my teeth? I guess not." Brush my teeth.
That's awesome. It's like someone you're there to correct and to like mold and everything, and you miss one step. They're like, "Don't we have to brush our teeth every day, Daddy?" And you're like, "We certainly do."
Oops. You know, but that's part of being human.
Can you imagine having that position as a kid and be like, "Hey, I valued your service as my advisor, but you're aged out." You're now a grumpy, moody, hormonal teenager, and you don't meet the qualifications of your position anymore.
Sure.
Meet your replacement. Get them some crayons.
Oh boy. All right. Well, there's that. And on next episode of Keeping You Weird,
it reminds me of that old TV show where like kids say the darndest things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the very mild PG-13 version of it, and then you have the like realistic version of it. Some stuff I've heard people's kids say to somebody else. I'm just like, man, I didn't even have the balls to say that, young man. Good job. Or young lady or anyone. Yeah. Like I'm pretty vocal. I'm that guy in the movie theater who cannot stand if you're playing on your phone for 2 seconds. I don't care. I remember talking to some 60-year-old woman, or excuse me, 80. I could see how old she was because how big the letters on her phone were.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I'm sorry, but I don't tolerate that kind of...
Well, there's a certain amount of etiquette that's been lost throughout just the past 20 years, too.
Very true.
You know,
you come up on your phone, I won't listen. Oh, my God.
I was a theater geek in high school, and I swear, like, if people are talking during any kind of show, even, I'll be sitting on the couch watching the video, and somebody wants to talk to me, I will literally stop the video, turn it off, whatever, devote my attention to them, and then move on. You know, it's kind of sad, but it's just the way I am.
I don't like to split my attention. I like to have my focus. I really feel my responses, again, are not even half there, like a quarter of, you know, the effort or energy or, you know, yeah, just to it. So I really try to give all my attention. Like we have this multitasking culture, which is proven to not be real, by the way. You cannot multitask. Some people are very good at switching their attention quickly, but you cannot multitask as a human. You give 60% of your attention or 40% to something, like you cannot give 100% to multiple things at one time.
Multitasking is doing multiple things very poorly.
You know where that came from, multitasking?
What's that?
Literally, the corporations came back at us about how we could do two people's jobs to save money. Also, something else I was thinking about and I didn't mention before, the term toxic masculinity actually came from prison, from a psychologist or sociologist doing experiments or studies on males, and just at a point how toxic masculinity, but they didn't mean it in the way that we take it nowadays.
Really?
Yeah, no.
How did they mean it? Do you remember?
I do not want to paraphrase and screw up the information.
Do you got a phone? Look it up.
Yeah, I mean that guy. But look it up yourself. Look it up yourself. But it really had a lot to do with how we've taken a phrase and kind of warped it into something that it wasn't. And again, you cannot be too toxic masculinity. You're a toxic person. You have toxic behavior
toxic traits.
That is, on both sides. Just because there are more abusive men does not mean there are not abusive women. People forget that.
Yeah.
People forget that.
I've always wondered when do we have toxic femininity?
That is a fantastic point. I think in toxic third genderism, that's terrible. I don't mean it, but really, or mean to say, if anyone thinks, but what it is if you impress upon your ideas, religion, culture, beliefs, etc., too much to someone else, are you not then the evil person?
Again, it's that gray area. Nobody is 100% the bad guy in their own story.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's very true. Yes, everybody deserves to have their own rights, their own space to do whatever they want, in the comfort of their own home, as long as they're not bringing harm to others. I personally
living creatures
have no cares about what they do, right? But it's that I'm going to go stand out in the street and browbeat somebody because, they misgendered me.
Their appearances are different. Or I think right there, with that, if you're so up in arms about being offended, I think you need to take someone's, again, intentions in consideration.
I think every opportunity is an opportunity to educate, and anything past that is just absolute. I was gonna say ego masturbation.
That's good. I like that. Ego
That's the phrase that came to my mind. You know, because you have somebody who's like, I identify as a they them, and then you've got the people on the one side of the spectrum who are like, you're not a they them. What's between your legs? And those people really shouldn't care what's between their legs. It takes you 2 seconds. Hello, miss. I prefer they them. Hello, they. It takes that fucking long. I have no
concern. I think to me it's kind of like someone asking me to call them an abbreviation of their name.
Yeah.
Your name is Joseph. You want me to call you Joe?
Done.
I don't care. But do not get mad at me if I call you Joseph by mistake. That's the difference, I think, too. And that's realistic from somebody, you know, like, and again, too, it's the intention. If you can tell someone legitimately made a mistake of getting used to the change or your preferences, it's one thing if I'm like, yeah, whatever, Joseph, whatever, fine. Versus like, oh, Joseph, oh man, my bad, Joe.
Yeah, but if Joseph wants to be called Maria and they go, please call me Maria,
it's gonna take me a minute to
continue to be like, you're Joseph, you're
that's
Joseph,
versus
Joseph.
being like, oh, Joseph, my bad, Maria.
Being
there's some transition, understand. And I've had those encounters where someone went from being blank person to being blank person, or I've had to inquire, and that is an awkward moment, like, hey, what would you like me to address you as? Because I am not 100% with the way you present yourself, on which, you know, way you would like me. I always just call everyone folks now.
The person who asked the question is a fool for 5 minutes. The person who never asked the question is a fool for a lifetime. Honestly.
Said, yes. Very
absolutely true. You know, because if I question somebody and I'm like, so what would you like me to call you? And they're like, Mix. And I'm like, I really don't. That's not part of my vernacular. Mix. What's your name?
Mix.
MX.
Oh,
Mix.
Interesting.
That's not part of my regular vernacular. What is your name? And they're like, well, you can call me Terrafin. Great. You're now Terrafin in my mind. You know?
Again, weird name.
I was just trying to go. I was just trying to go broad.
Claim you're a seahorse like that. To me, I'm just.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Where does the line stop? You know.
So again, let's go in again a little bit more. Like, I don't. If I visited your house as a friend, and there was a litter box in your bathroom, and you didn't have a cat. At some point, I would question. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I would just. I mean, you know, we all went through our adolescence, who am I phase, or whatever phase, or adult phase, or whoever, you know,
it's that self-identity.
You know, yeah, and I much prefer the company of canines. I get it, but I don't believe I am a canine. I don't feel that I am a canine in the sense that I identify that way. I'm more animalistic than normal people, I want to say. Sure, I'll give you that. But, again, not putting you down if you need to use a litter box. I'm just...
If I visit your house and you expect me to use your litter box instead of your toilet, expect some pushback on that, because I'm not gonna pee in the litter box.
I will experiment and use your bidet. I've always been curious. It's an American thing. We don't have them. I think it's probably more
bidets are great.
See, also, I've never had that experience. And if for whatever reason you're very holistic and you want me to poop in your outhouse and cover it with sawdust,
yeah,
I get that. If you want me to use your litter box in your house, I'm just not gonna move the sand. Just saying, there's gonna be a fresh something there for you. There's a scooper by. I know there's a bag or something.
So you'd use the litter box if they're like, please use the litter box and not the toilet.
You know, I don't know. I think it really would depend on what mood I'm in. If I'm in a very open and like right now,
depends on how attractive the person is of the house that you're using.
No, not. I had nothing to do with it at all. Nothing to do with it at all. I've been around some people that I would never, you know, participate in something that way that they, you know, offered, and I'm just like, no, it's not, you know, company, etc. Anyway,
it's not me, but okay.
I mean, if you want to clean up the box after I pee in it, I mean, I guess. I mean, that's your thing. I don't know how much comfortability I have with that, or is the toilet just not working? Is it like the water shut off altogether? Is there an option? Is it?
I will literally go outside and pee on a tree before I use somebody's litter box. That's not going to be a thing I do. I'm sorry.
There's a black splashing issue, kind of, you know, like with again, too, I don't know.
Do you know what else is another option? Just holding it, just moving on.
No, God, no. You got to go, man. That reminds me of a story from another movie where he talks about, again, too, it's the reality of life. Damn it. Again, I'm terrible with names. Grease.
John Travolta?
John Travolta. So John Travolta.
No, yeah, was
yeah,
it? Okay.
Yeah, so he plays like a Wall Street guy who goes to jail.
Okay.
And he,
in a different movie, not in Grease.
No. So he comes out, I think it's like Peloton 1, 2 something. Anyway, Denzel Washington's in it, and he's like something sort of like transportation conduct or something. He's in charge of the transportation of the city or whatever. He gets to bid on contracts and something. Okay. And, you know, he's in charge of like the tunnel system for the trains or whatever. He's there operating them, and John Travolta takes a train hostage.
Okay.
And in the whole time he does it not for the ransom, but because it shoots up the price of gold or something like that. Like he knows how the stock market works. So when he gets out, he buys a bunch of options or whatever. He increases the price of whatever and makes millions and millions of dollars off the situation. It's interesting, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But it's very possible. Shit like that happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's what that last little hiccup in the market was, where it tanked. Anyway, yeah, we actually talk about finances too.
All over the place. So his character is talking about how he went to prison and how he's like having to use the restroom in this like open area with all these people. He's like, there's just no way I could do that. He's like, I was thinking to myself, and he's like, you know what? It reminded me. And again, the whole story might get a little muddled, but he's like, it reminded me. He's like, I was on a sled with some model or whatever, and like we're like sledding around someplace or whatever, right?
Okay.
And there's fucking being pulled by dogs. He talks about how one of the dogs just like shits while it's running, like doesn't fucking care. It's like has to do what it has to do. And he's like, and that's what got me over it. And he's like, I was able to move on with my life or survive prison. He's like thinking about how that dog just did what it had to do. And he's like, that's what made me. It's something about the whole way that he talks about, you know, prison and having to realize that there's just some things you just have to fucking get over or deal with. Or again, to what's he gonna do? Hold himself forever? And shit on himself in front of a bunch of fucking criminals and shit? Or are you just gonna get over it and go take a fucking shit? Yeah. Again, kind of gross, folks, but that's life for you, you know?
Yeah, but if you're visiting someone's house and they're like, use the litter box, please, you could say no.
You absolutely could. So
if you're in prison with a bunch of inmates and there it is, there's the toilet, and there are rules for the toilet. That's weird, but that's their weird. But
I'm pretty sure I'd set some ground rules if there was a bunch of people and, you know, I had some say in that. Like, yo, you wipe that seat.
No, they sit to pee. It's like everybody sits to pee. That's the one rule that sticks out in my mind that I heard on YouTube. Bunch of
probably what
convicts talking about how it was.
In a toilet, you know.
Yeah, well, it has something to do with the velocity of the urine. Once it hits the toilet, it backsplashes out and hits the area. Like there's this mist.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I've seen it. Like, ladies, if your man uses the urinal and he's wearing shorts, little ankle splashing going on there, or he pees in a toilet.
Yeah.
It's like, put a garden hose into a pond and see where that water goes.
Yep.
Just saying.
Also, please just sit on the toilet. As someone who's actually cleaned toilets before, just sit. It's way more hygienic. Just sit.
No weird shit we're talking about. Well, you know, it's very masculine not to pee sitting down. You have to stand up.
Oh, dude, I was in that conversation and it burned into my brain because when I was working construction, when I was working construction, I'd always sit down in the porta-john just because it was 5 minutes to sit and take a breather, do your business, get up and get out. But that's just the way I worked.
The first morning moment, I'm too tired to fucking stand anywhere. And besides, like, you can't do two things at once unless you're sitting.
Yeah.
This is getting really weird. So anyway, the stock market, put options, dividends, financial security, fire, retirement.
Controlling your own destiny through financial independence so that way you don't have to sit in the construction yard porta-john when it's 120 degrees outside and probably 180 degrees inside that little plastic, musty, disgusting sweat box that is, you know, whatever.
You've all been to a concert, right? Come on.
Yeah. You know what
Festival.
we're talking about.
You know what's terrible? I mean, no one wants to think about it. They make a lot of money taking care of your shit. It's a recession-proof business, folks. Everyone's got a shit.
Right,
Everyone wants to talk about that restaurant, but
So anyway, the last little dip in the market that just
God
happened 2 weeks ago, last Friday.
fuck, my Nvidia stock dropped. God damn it.
Did you hold on to it, or did you?
Yeah, no, I'm yeah.
Iron-fisted hand.
It dropped like 40% value.
It did. That day I was
Yeah.
like, honestly, to tell you the honest truth, this is what I did. Don't ever take this as financial advice. Just, take it as a grain of salt.
Warning.
Whatever. When the market dropped, I was like, I got $100. Bitcoin it is. Bought some up because everything tanked that day. Everything was being sold. And I'm like, ooh, fire sale. Yeah, I wasn't even texting you about it. I was like, hey, the market's dropping.
It happened last year. I noticed, honestly, I think so. As like traffic, the market is predictable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in my mind, a lot of what that happens for maybe vacation purposes or extra liquidity, people sell their stuff in the summertime.
So
July last year happened.
This August is typically a slow month and all these other good explanations for it, but this is the only explanation that I saw that actually made any sense. So this is going to go deep and we're going to lose people to the fluoride stare. Sorry in advance, it's about to get boring. Just skip ahead or whatever, or stop paying attention, whatever.
That's cute.
So, the cost of borrowing money is always cheaper in a different country than it is in the U.S. because the U.S. is like the reserve currency, right?
Okay.
So a lot of stock market people were like, hey, Japan, can we borrow some money to buy these stocks? And Japan went, sure, you could buy that on margin. So they did. They bought it on margin. And then Japan got sad because everybody's like, hey, they're borrowing money from us and they're not paying us back. So they're like, hey, everybody, you owe us money today. We're calling it. Give us our money. So everybody went, oh, we got to sell, pay back Japan. And then the next day they're like, hey, Japan, can we borrow some money again? And Japan's like, yeah, you're good. Everybody paid up. Do it. So there it is in the non-fucking fluoride stare, like,
wow,
bromance things. If more people paid attention to stuff like this than they do, like, the foosball team or the sports ball team,
or what
we'd
my
have
favorite
a
actor
different
is wearing to the
America.
whatever show.
Yeah, exactly. We would have a literal different America, but people aren't going to give you the information that you need to overthrow them.
As crappy as it may seem, not everybody can live a life that we all want because there is only a finite number of resources or spots at the table, and somebody has to be the one providing the service, not being the one served. And that's the shitty thing, is you can't have the world full of kings because no one is being ruled.
You don't have to have everybody be ruled. Like, we are the only species on the planet that actually pays to live here.
There are some people who legitimately need somebody to hold their hand through life. They have been genetically engineered, chemically fed, visually programmed, conditioned for all of that. And as much as they want to rail against it, they're the ones telling you to step back in line. So, yeah. I mean, it is a terrible fact. And on top of that, as we bring up many times before, some people just aren't at a high enough caliber. Some people are lower round bullets.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I am, the top tier, but I know I'm not a 22.
I like to think I'm a 22 caliber, just so that way my standards are set there.
Again,
whatever.
Not, picking on anyone, and there are varying degrees of the human capacity represented in many different factors, in different cultures, and our own, we even have it, our own system here, our own class system.
It's cultural. It's all cultural and conditioning, in my opinion.
A lot
and
of
the only way
we run society.
The only way to get out of that cultural conditioning is to do the research yourself. Do your own research. Is to do the research yourself, gain the knowledge that you need to get ahead. To tell you the honest truth, I've been watching the stock market for years, and this is the first time where I was like, "Oh, I recognize this pattern. This is a dip in the market. It's going to go back up. Bye." So I bought.
Nice. Yeah,
not a lot, like $100, but
I think I want to be an investor. I don't want to be a trader. And even after so many years, I just don't want to give it. I think once I became an investor for real, knowing the difference between a trader and an investor. Again, I think it's a sign of strength to hold on to something like that. I mean, I believe in the company. I believe in what they do. I like their products. I didn't purchase it for the monetary, gain.
No, but there's a bunch of strategic advantages for those companies, which is what you gotta really look at. You want to go deeper into stock analysts and like what companies are doing, and you're just blind to the corporate responsibility. By all means, you can make money hand over fist with some companies, to tell you the honest truth. You really can. But in order to be, in order for me to sleep at night, I only invest in certain companies.
Oh yeah.
Because of their corporate responsibility, blah, blah, blah. Or the fact that they just maybe mass-produced AI and everybody wants their AI right now. So, there's that. And this whole production that we put on is brought to you by AI.
Brought to you by AI.
AI. We're robot brains. So there's I think we're going to wrap it up with the conspiracies. Why not? You know what video did well for us? Us talking about working out. Bruh. You know what really we talk about? Conspiracies and investing. So the guy, the everyday spy guy, you know who I'm talking about?
Everyday spy guy? No.
Everyday spy, he's like...
Another channel I have to look into?
Oh man, you've probably already seen him. Already seen him. He has like big brown poofy hair, and he's missing a tooth down here.
Maybe.
And he talks about being a CIA agent, an ex-CIA agent.
Okay, yeah, I've seen him.
Okay, there you go.
He honestly looks like I would buy some weed off him if I was walking down the beach.
Yeah, he'd sell it to you and just be like, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I know that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, you do look like you have some good weed. You know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, sir.
You know who you are. But anyway, like, I'm totally convinced that once this dude's done with his little operation, he's going to cut his hair, put his tooth back in, and shave his beard, and he'll be like a totally different person. Anyway, that's one conspiracy theory that I have. Tinfoil hat.
The professional fallacy is a serious issue.
Yeah, but this guy...
You can change someone's... Again, what is the profession that he is projecting?
Yeah,
what is he projecting? It's all... Mm-hmm. I love these just some videos that I've seen online, charisma.com, Charisma University, when they take actors and they analyze them from a movie and then also in their personal point of view. I love it because it's a great example. Let's just take men, for example, on how you can absolutely change the way you're appeared by somebody by your haircut, the way you fucking dress, and small mannerisms, the way you talk. You're not changing yourself, you're projecting the best version of yourself.
Yes. I tell my kids all the time, that people will judge you by the way that you speak. I tell them that all the time.
Absolutely.
But anyway, this guy, circling back, this guy says the first 3 weeks at the CIA consists of two things. I fucking knew it! And we're really in danger as a country.
You just do what I say, and we're very in danger as a country.
Yeah, it's just like, I knew it! I knew that was a CIA plot, and we're really in danger. We're super in danger. I just had to get that off my chest and put it out there.
I agree. It's like we're the modern Rome, and there's a bunch of Gauls and Visigoths staring down the gate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why we put this together, so that way people could educate themselves. They can become financially responsible in a piece of paper that really means nothing, but then again, it allows them to collect assets to become healthy, because your health is your wealth, right? 3, maybe there is something to the tinfoil hat a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of truth in with the lizard people and firmament and the flat earth and Alex Jones thinking that the frogs are gay, Maybe there's something to all that.
That was back when I first watched Jurassic Park, and they talked about how certain species of frogs could change their gender based upon, the available partners around them, and that makes sense. And again, is that not kind of what is happening on a mass scale with us as well? I mean,
who knows, man?
There's lots of stuff that this is what gets me too. Is the further you look into it, on how just wearing certain clothes changes your hormones, certain fabrics change your hormones.
Oh yeah. Did you see the
polyester and some shit. So
vibrations.
Vibrations. It is extremely crazy, and I'm not super religious, but very spiritual, and you have to give credence where it is. On how we can prove about mixing linen and wool isn't good, and how the Bible actually says that as well.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
you shouldn't. I'm pretty sure that you shouldn't mix plastic in clothing. To tell you the honest truth, I really do think plastic is a deteriorant to the human body. We can't get away from it, but we
Just
can call it out
that
now.
Happens, and again, the sheets and the fabric and everything like that. Vibration, folks. Like Nikola Tesla said, frequency, vibration. What's the other part?
All right. Well, we got multiple other bridges to burn, and the editor's got to spend 6 more hours putting in all of these advertisements that aren't going to be there. I'm just going to make us look really ridiculous by pointing at stuff.
Just put a smiley face there. An eggplant or, ding ding.
A dink. An eggplant.
Why does that remind me of the little guys off of Spaceballs? Ding ding, ding 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 ding. They fucking, that's the noise that's the sound they make. Ding ding, ding 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 ding. Now someone should make a meme where they're like ding 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 ding, and then it's just a little ding ding. Eggplant, I don't know, whatever.
We're never going to get monetized.
So there are many different ways to become financially independent. Patreon, support us on Patreon. I know your videos need to be monetized. It's just the biggest, fattest check you get from it is from the monetization of there.
Why not just say donate to our GoFundMe?
No, because they take everything. I think that's why Patreon's the way to go right now. I never heard anyone talk about GoFundMe. It's more Patreon or support me on Rumble. It's like going into a Pepsi store and be like, buy Coke. And Coke's like, yep. They're like, that's why we sell 3 times more drinks than Pepsi. Go for it.
Oh man, back in the night, I'm dating myself. Back in the 90s, you walk into a burger establishment and you order the wrong cola, and they're like, we don't have that.
The brand fucking loyalty. We only sell Pepsi products.
We only sell Coke. What are you asking for Pepsi here?
Can I get a cherry Coke? We have cherry Pepsi. So just give me a fucking cherry Pepsi. I don't.
Or you walk into a restaurant and they're like, we have Royal Crown.
Still don't know what that is.
Oh, you mean you couldn't cut a deal with one of the major cola houses? Gotcha.
Oh wait, I remember Royal Crown. Yeah. Did they own RC?
Yeah, it's RC.
Okay.
Royal Crown Cola.
That's right. Yeah. I didn't know for the longest time that Dr. Pepper is its own company. I thought Coke owned them.
Really?
Yeah, Dr. Pepper is its own company. They just have a contract, which is, as far as I know, in our state, expiring in the next few years because Khalil will be taking over Dr. Pepper.
To distribute it?
Or excuse me, Dr. Pepper will be buying Khalil as their own distributor.
Oh, cool.
Some shit like that. Again,
see, that's the kind of stuff you need to know.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff you need to know because you can make moves and profit off of stuff like that. Just saying.
Yeah, Monster has changed hands. I didn't know this stuff. Like, there's these companies who actually just distribute shit. And they don't like. Anyway, research pod. Good. We might end it.
Swire. All right.
Swire.
Anyway, if you've liked listening to us, please.
Or you just want to talk more shit. That's fine too.
Please like, subscribe, hit that bell, just like every other asshole out there trying to make a YouTube channel.
Send money, and you might get something for it. Maybe.
Send us money and we'll keep providing you with value.
If 1 million of you gives $1 every year, we can do this forever. Even exchange, $1. Just saying. I think it'd be fair.
That goes back to the old commercials. For the cost of 1 cup of coffee, you too could feed a child in Africa for a year. What? $1 feeds a child in Africa for a year?
67% of the proceeds go to my pocket.
Don't look into the administration funds.
Legally, we're only required to give 7% of our proceeds to the actual charity we claim.
Here's a lot of other fast talk that's legalese. We're not liable for shit. This is just an opinion.
We cycle the same photo with different names through all of you. You all think you saved the same child.
Or the dog commercial, to the arms of an angel, that just rips at your heartstrings, and you look into that company and they're like, yeah, about 40% goes to dogs, the rest goes to administration fees.
I love looking up all the penalties and fines a company's got. At some point, when you just have to make the business decision on being fined by your own government for trading with the enemy, well, that's just good business.
It's just
That's crazy.
if it has a fine associated with the crime, that just means that poor people can't do it. That's all that means.
That is seriously it. It's not a punishment. It's a fine for a reason.
Thank you, Andrew Tate. I think I heard that on his channel, one of his spider networks.
It might have been Tristan, because I heard him talking
Tristan?
about... Yeah, he's talking about
Okay.
driving around, and he's like, is there really rules for me? He's like, I can park wherever
That's
I want.
right. Yeah,
drive
yeah,
as
yeah,
fast
yeah.
as I want.
Yep.
All I have to do is pay a fine. He's like, is that even a law? He's like, it's not a law. It's a fine, which creates you from a barrier because law is for me, but not for thee, or law is for you, but not for me, something like
Yeah,
that.
so remember, when you donate to the Toast of the Weirds Patreon, 100% goes to us.
So we can break the rules and then not be normal people.
No,
That
we're not
would be
going to.
great.
We are law-abiding citizens.
Again, laws, not fines. Laws.
Law-abiding citizens.
If there's a
Rules,
fine.
we could break rules. That's okay. We
Is
don't
that
break laws
maritime
camera.
laws? And again, there's a statute of limitation to admitting to a crime too, right?
All right. Anyway, I'm out. Subscribe.
Just give me some money. I don't have to go back to work. I want to do this.